Welcome to the Gita in Action podcast. My name's Radha, and I'm here with our family of seekers, which is growing and expanding. And we're happy to be back here with you. We had a wonderful women's retreat at New Vrindavan in West Virginia this past weekend. It started on Thursday. It was Thursday to Sunday, but it felt like 10 days, didn't it? Like in the best way possible. Like we just packed so much into those days. So much connection, so much upliftment, so much realization. It was really special. And we're all fired up. We're all fired up here. So thank you of those who came and those who didn't. We're going to do it every year. Every year we're going to do it. And we also have more retreats coming up. So opportunities to connect and grow and be a part of our family. So, today I wanted to start off with something a little bit different than we usually do. And from there, kind of see where we get. Because I was thinking about this word. This word came up a lot this weekend. This word empowered. And I was thinking about it a lot. Like what this actually means. When somebody says you're an empowered leader. And I wanted to kind of share some of my reflections on it and maybe get some of your all's reflections on it. If that's okay. And then we can see where the day takes us. Usually we dive right into the Gita. I mean, I think 99.999% of the time we dive right into the Gita, but I thought maybe today is just kind of a fun little like post-retreat debrief. Maybe we kind of dive into this topic together and see where it takes us. Does that sound okay? Great. Let's do it. Yeah. So this word empowered leader. I've been sitting with it, and I noticed that it can land in a couple different ways. On one hand, for me, like when somebody calls me an empowered leader, it's like oh, thank God, like I don't have to do all this on my own anymore. Like I don't have to force anything, or carry everything, or pretend I know what I'm doing all the time. It's like I can just be an instrument. I can just be guided. And that feels really relieving. But on the other hand, that word can also go in a completely different direction. It can become like, oh, I'm empowered. I'm powerful. I'm so great. I've got this. And then without even realizing it, we can step into this kind of like subtle pride, where we start taking ownership over something that was never really ours to begin with. So that's where it gets tricky, because it's a very fine line. And once you blur the line, like once you fall over the line into the pride side, it's like you're unplugged, like those wind up toys that like, it's like you're done, which is also kind of beautiful. Right. But these are the two things that happen. It humbles you or you start to identify with it, and you start to take responsibility for it. You start to feel like I did this. And it's very interesting because it's the same experience, but completely different inner posture. So that's kind of the first thing I want to say about it is like, I think we had a lot of leaders at this retreat this past weekend. I mean, I know we had a lot of leaders. I saw it. And just reflecting on my own leadership experience is just the dance between these two dichotomies, makes all the difference, because I've been on both sides, and it's actually a constant dance, because it's very easy to go over to the other side of feeling a little bit proud. And that's when like the red warning lights should be going off, like, get back on, get back in between the lines because you're about to fall off the side of the road. When we start to feel a little like proud. So that's one reflection on this. And then I another reflection, another thing I started thinking about a little bit, because I noticed this pattern in myself. Whenever something really matters to me, I start trying to control it. Like how it goes, how people show up, how something unfolds. And on the outside, it can look like responsibility, like care, like leadership. But internally, it doesn't really feel so peaceful. It feels like pressure. It feels like everything is resting on me. So this weekend, I really set an intention, like at the beginning of the weekend, to try something a little bit different, to like really lean into this spiritual principle of like non-attachment. Like externally, I was still planning, I was still showing up, I still did everything I normally do. But internally, I tried to let go of this idea that I'm the one controlling how it all turns out. And what I noticed was really interesting. It made me realize, this is actually the deeper question. And that is, how do we take responsibility without thinking that we're the controller? Because that's where things get heavy when we start trying to manage everything. And then somewhere along the way, we begin to carry more than we're meant to. And that's what's exhausting. So what do we do instead? Like, what's the solution? We still show up fully. We still plan, we still care. But internally, there's this shift. I'm responsible, but I'm not in control. And when that clicks, like even just a little bit, it's something just softens. There's less pressure, there's less force, and there's more space to actually witness how things unfold. And we talked about this like the first day of the retreat. We talked about the difference between being and doing, of presence and just like mindless jumping in. And I think this is really like a key to getting to that place of being, of presence. Is when we stop making it all about you. I stop making it all about me, my performance, my achievement, my, the way I look. And when you can just show up for the experience, it's still in a responsible manner. We still have to do our duties, but internally, we become more like part of the flow. I realize this. I can see this. Because I've been organizing retreats for a long time. I used to organize retreats for Wisdom of the Sages, Raghunath, and I think back on those days when I was organizing retreats, and I was so dang attached. I think like I was gripping so tightly. I was so worried about every detail, and the way everything turned out, I took it to mean directly something about myself, and my efforts, and my abilities. And in that way, I just remember feeling so stressed all the time. And people have said that to me too, like, "Oh, you said, notice you're like not even stressed like you used to be, or you really chilled out." And it's just like this very subtle thing. And the funny thing is that I noticed like the retreats actually still run just as smoothly, if not smoother. But internally, it's like I'm just like not gripping so much. And it's such a relief. It's such a relief. And I remember when I first started organizing retreats, I had just left my role as a program manager, I worked for a contractor of the Navy. And I had a good amount of responsibility. And this is just like such a difference in material consciousness versus spiritual consciousness. And this is what also makes just all the difference. And it's just like so much fun, so much fun to do these kinds of retreats, because they really challenge you. And also what I've realized is that I still work. I work. I have a job, and I'm still in a lot of times I'm in material consciousness at my job. And what I'd like to do, this is my goal. I'm going to just say it right here on this podcast. I'd like to start taking some of the things that I'm learning and organizing and leading these retreats into my everyday job, because it doesn't have to be like our spiritual life and our material life. Like in one hand, it makes it a little bit easier because it's there's like a container and it's very clear. Just like those of us who practice like yoga asana, it's a great place on your mat to practice some of these principles of non-attachment, non-judgment. And the whole point is when you step off your mat to be a little bit more mindful of these principles. So this is kind of where I am like right now. I think in my realization is like, okay, I've tried these principles on. I really see just how beautiful everything is inside and out when we live by these principles. Now it's time to really bring them to life that doesn't maybe seem so spiritual on the outside, but it actually really can be spiritual if we show up with that consciousness. So that was another thing. But in the retreat, when I showed up like that, I felt like, you know, everything. I was able to connect with people so much better and more authentically, and I just like all of a sudden had the time and the space, to do that. And I think people could feel that, that, and this is kind of some of the feedback I was getting there too. Like back in the day when I would run those retreats at the beginning of my Seva experience, I would do those retreats, and there was still love, there was still, dedication, there was still care, but there was so much attachment that it just wasn't fully selfless. It was like I was giving, but I also needed something back. I needed to see that like things went according to my plan and that I was successful and doing it right. And, and it just, that energy gets sticky. It starts to actually like interfere with the service itself. So anyway, all that to say, like I'm still very much a work in progress, but I do notice a shift in my own practice. I still do my best with what I can see, but I let go. I try to offer it. And this has just been such a relief because of trying to control everything and being so ingrained in it. It's like I get to watch a little bit more. Like it's like there's moments during the retreat this weekend where things didn't go according to plan at all. But instead of like feeling stressed or thrown off, it just felt like I'm just watching how this is unfolding, almost just like watching a story play out. And I'll still step in, when I feel like it's necessary. I'm still engaged, but I'm not like forcing the outcome. And it became very like exciting, and like I said, it really opened me up, because when I wasn't so focused on how things reflected on me, or whether everything was going right, I could actually just be there, with people in the moment, in the connection. And ultimately, that's really the goal, right? That's really the goal of these retreats. So to the degree that we can let go of this inner pressure, we can move into something more natural and more present, more connected. And this is where love actually flows. And all this brings us back to this word empowered. Because real empowerment isn't about becoming bigger. And it's also it's not about shrinking either. It's not like I did all of this and it's not like I'm nothing. It's something much steadier than that. It's I showed up. I gave what I could. And the rest wasn't mine. And when we live in that space, it protects us from both sides. It keeps pride from creeping in because we're not taking ownership of something that isn't ours. And it also keeps that self-doubt, that self-deprecation from creeping in. That kind of prevents the flow of love. Because we did show up. we did participate. We are part of the offering. We just understand that we're not just the source of it, right? We're not just we're just not the source of it. There's something, and there's something that's super grounding in that, because it means we don't have to prove anything. We don't have to carry everything. We just have to stay connected, stay sincere, and keep showing up. And maybe that's really what empowerment actually is. It's not like stepping into power as the controller, but it's like stepping into alignment, as an instrument. It's all about relationship. Bhakti is all about relationship. And from that relationship, it's like you're just carried into the current of love. And it's beautiful. So these were some of my like realizations stepping out of the retreat this weekend. And my goal is to, or, I want to start living this in my life more, because just last week I made a huge mistake at work, and it was because somebody wanted some invoice, somebody wanted something from me, and I immediately got stressed, like I need to get this to them, I'm responsible. And then I just got so like frazzled that I did something really stupid. And it's like you see this all the time, like our own ego, our own self-doubt, our own, it keeps us, it blocks us. So if we can carry whatever it is that you came out of the retreat with, or whatever experience you had, if we can carry that into our lives, that's what takes these retreats from just a place of like, oh, I had a really uplifting experience, it was great, okay, now I'm back to real world and it sucks. But if that's what makes the difference between something like that and like a real transformation in our lives. And ultimately that's the goal of these retreats. The goal is not just to come and have a super high and then go back down. No, the goal is to carry it through. And this is how we carry it through. We come, we practice, we learn, we reflect, and we say, okay, how can these things be integrated into my lives? So I just wanted to share that with you all. And then I kind of wanted to open it up to hear where you guys are with it. Either what I said, or any of your own realizations, and how you can carry that more into your life, so there's not such a dissonance between spiritual life and material life. Yeah, Tanmai. Beautiful name.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah, one of my favourite things that Raghunath taught me in the training was every single time someone compliments you, like at the end of a yoga class or anything like that, is instead of saying thank you and feeling all yay, my ego's out here, is to reply by saying, by the grace of my teachers gone before me. And every time I say that, I feel so humbled, because you are just like a conduit for all the teachings that have come through you. And when you pass that on, it's not really you. Well, it is, but it's not. But when you acknowledge all the teachers, and so many times I've said that in class, you can see the students really taking that in as well. Gosh, yoga and all its spiritual teachings have been going through all these teachers for so many decades, thousands and thousands of years. So I just always remember that.
Yeah, so nice. And it's funny, sometimes you hear that, like people say that, but sometimes it just becomes like something that you say, like it's like almost as autopilot, like, oh, you do so, oh, thank you, it's my teachers, but even like kind of challenging yourself to, when you say it, like really mean it, like really know it. It's not just like something we say, but something we live. Yeah, I really like that though. Thank you. Who else has something to share with us? Be brave. Kalachanji.
Well, just to state the obvious, when I when you first said the name, gave a title to this, empowered leadership, the first thing I thought of was empowering leadership, that an empowered leader empowers others. And it's when it feels wonderful to be on the other side of it and to experience an empowered leader. And I find that I come away from those experiences feeling better about myself. And I mean that not in an ego way, I'm so great, but just feeling more secure, and empowered by that. Um, so that's I'll just that's whenever I come away from this class, I just feel good. Um, and there are others, and this actually came at a perfect time for me. There are other classes, other styles of teaching that I don't feel as good. It doesn't make me feel better about myself. It makes me doubt myself or feel not good enough in some ways. So I just really appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, beautiful. Such a nice point. Thank you. Thank you, Kalachandji. An empowered leader lifts other people up. It's not about my journey. It's really about empowering others. Thank you.
Yeah, Radha, yeah,
Sukta, yes.
I never know how to put my hands up anywhere, but
Yes.
it's also realistic what you're saying and what you have been going through. And I find that with the word empower or empowering, like you're saying, like I think all of us go through that at some point in our life, whether we are in leadership or not, whether we are
Mm,
in, we're just common or communicating somewhere. But it's so real what you're saying. And I am so glad that you've said it. But I think, like for me, since I have been in this class and it's over a year now, it has taught me to do what you're saying you're going to do at work. And I am
mm,
doing this with other people right now, and it's automatic. The spirituality, the philosophy, the kind of kindness, or the way I react to something that someone say to me that I may not like or I may like is so different from how I would have done it before. And I think it comes with maturity and with intelligence. As you learn more, you get to accept all of this and your confidence within yourself, the confidence within yourself. So, empowerment, yeah. Oh gosh, I could feel like, oh my goodness, my ego, the power. I've done so much, I could do so much. But all of that, it's way behind me now. I don't even think who I used to be. I don't even remember what I used to do. But I'm so grateful to be in this group and this class because it has taught me so much that I am at such a different level at this point of time. But it's really, really a great point that you brought up. And
mm.
I think, I'm sure everyone has been through or are going through some of this thing at this point. So thank you
Yeah,
so much, Radha.
beautiful share. Thank you. Thank you. And even if you don't maybe necessarily identify as a leader, everybody here is a leader in some capacity. Maybe you have children, maybe you have friends that look up to you, maybe whatever it is, everybody here is a leader. It doesn't have to
True.
be yeah. So these are things that can, and once you allow yourself, once you become an instrument to be empowered by God, um, he'll turn you into, he'll really use you. So
Yes.
yeah, but it's in
True.
it's in
True.
everyone. We just have to get out of our own ways. It's really what it is.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Who else? Anuradha.
Did everyone see Divya here?
I can't even.
Divya. Good to see you.
I'm having a major issue here with my
Oh, there
video.
you are.
Oh, where am I?
Oh, no,
No,
that's
that's Jennifer.
yeah, I can't see her.
Sorry. So, Kalachandji, Hare Krishna, I loved what you said, and I wanted to just acknowledge that this morning, Radha, we text so much. She was so happy when I called her yesterday. She acknowledged that we never speak on the phone, really. We just keep texting each other. So, yeah, this morning she said, I want to speak something about empowered leadership. And I immediately said, of course, you are an empowered leader who empowers others. And then Kalachandji, shared that. And I just wanted to say how I just felt like we are so in alignment of this. I really feel like, Radha, I really feel you have that sense of empowering other people in whichever level of leadership they're at. And I really appreciated that. I felt that this weekend, no one was overly, tasked with too much oversight. They just took on what they could or wanted to. And I feel this weekend was such a beautiful experience of someone empowered who was empowering. So, yeah. Thank you, Shraddhanjali. There you go. She's giving me a thumbs up there. You want to say anything, Divya? Okay.
I love that you just shared the model because the model is so important. We don't have to talk about me. Maybe better that we don't talk about me. But that model, just like Tanmai said about, we are empowered and then we empower others. And this is how parampara works. This is how the knowledge is transferred. This is how we create spiritual communities and everybody is lifted up in the process. So this is the model. Yeah, God is so good. He puts it all together. Yes, he's like the master creator. And it's amazing. And when we get into the flow of that, we just get to like watch. And still we're doing things, but it doesn't feel like we're doing things because really we're just kind of in the flow. And it's really nice. I had an interesting conversation with somebody over lunch who lives at New Vrindavan, and they were telling me why things can get really sticky with leadership in different spiritual communities. And they said, it's hard when people have their own attachments. And I thought that was so interesting. It's like we all have attachments. We're all we want to do good. We want to serve. But at the same time, we have our own personal agendas, and this is good. This is what pushes us. But at the same time, it's just like a constant dance with like pushing your personal agenda and then accepting that, the plan is so much bigger than that you don't even see now. And like knowing when to push and when to chill and when to it's like, so I found that when she said it, I was like, yeah, that's so relatable. And it's something for us all to be aware of and work on. And it's a constant dance. It's a constant dance. Do you have anything? Yeah, Mariah.
Yeah, I'm just reflecting on my own life and just how this applies in like you said, even though we're not all maybe like leading um retreats, we're leaders in our own home or in our you know, in our own little circle. And I just think it's so beautiful to think about that internal shift of like letting go of it's me or it's mine or I'm the doer and really just recognizing where am I being attached, where am I trying to control this situation, and taking a step back and just being like, how can I be of service in this situation? Like, I mean, it sounds so it sounds so like obvious, but it's so funny how internally we get so, like you said, we just tip to that side of pride, of ownership, and then all of a sudden the whole situation feels tight and like you're gripping, and it's almost becomes painful. And then that's when like stress comes up, and that's when like the relationship or the relationship with your partner or your child or your friend or whoever gets stressed and creates more distance when we're gripping tighter. But when we let go, I'm not the doer, I'm not the enjoyer. My, this isn't mine. Um, we can show up so differently. We're not gripping, we're not forcing. And then love flows, connection flows. Um, just recognizing that in my own patterns in life and how I would grip so tightly to, relationships or whatever it was. And then I would make it all about me. Oh, they're not showing up how I need them to show up. They're not doing what I think they should be doing. It's not going how I think it should be going. It's not at the stage I think it should be at. Instead of just being in the moment, like, this is where it's at. How can I show up now? And how can I connect now? Um, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So thank you
Yeah.
for sharing this and um, just always making it practical and relatable, no matter what stage you're at of leadership, as you said.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing about it too is for me, it's not like you just flip a switch and all of a sudden you just like chill and okay, everything's good. I can let go of my attachment to the way things were supposed to be. I feel like it's like just a constant. Sometimes you're able to let things go, and sometimes in the moment you're like super frustrated and like, hey, this was supposed to be this way. What are you doing? And in those moments, I'm always so grateful for my team where I can like have a moment where I'm like, kind of flipping out a little bit for just like stress, and then and then a second later you're gonna say, hey, I'm so sorry, that was, I don't even know why I freaked out about that, please forgive me. And they can say, no problem at all, like, this is great, it's no, and everything, and then we just flow back together nicely, like.
Yeah.
And this
That's
is
the beauty of I'm sorry, right? Like, sorry to cut you off, but I do that so
yeah.
much being a single parent. And like when my daughter's home, like sometimes I'm like, okay, we're going to clean the house today and I need you to do this and this and this. And she's the kid and she's like, what do you mean? Why do I have to do that? Like, I don't want to do that right now. And I'm like, no, I need you to do this. And then I'm like, wait a minute, slow down. And then I'll get angry or like frustrated. And she feels like she's not doing enough, or like, I can see it on her. The connection is, and then I'm just like, okay, pause. And I'm like, this should be fun. How can we make this fun? And I apologize. I say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm a little stressed out. I really want the house to be clean today. You know, how about we do this together and make it fun? And she's like, it's okay, mom. Yeah, let's do that. It's like just saying I'm sorry and just letting it go, or like, can I start over? Like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we have to give ourselves grace too,
Yeah,
because we're all works in progress. Um, yeah, two steps forward, one step back. Two steps.
yeah, yeah.
Nancy, what do you think?
Well, I think I'm sorry that I couldn't join you all.
We're
But
sorry
you
too.
know, maybe at some point I can do that. We'll see. But I kept on thinking too that it's really important to show up at any kind of class, or whether it's Zoom or in person, or um, it come to a retreat with an open mind and really honor the people that are leading, as opposed to having all these expectations of I'm here to be cater to. And that is another form of pride too, of like, well, I paid money for this. I want to be, and instead to really be open and caring for the entire community, to feel like, okay, now how can I be of service in this situation, and how can I be open-minded, because expectations will lead to resentments pretty quickly.
Mm.
If oh, wait a minute, this is the room that I was expecting, this isn't oh, I asked for a gluten-free um vegan upside down cake or something and it didn't get it, and all of a sudden we can make something that's really beautiful really prickly. And even if we're not in the leadership position, so it's really a great thing to have everyone that's participating in any class or any to just say, let's just take a deep breath and be respectful for it to everyone that's participating, because it really makes a big difference, I think. Because when a leader then sort of hits a stumbling block, they don't get the pressure to, have to
Mm.
be perfect about things, because everybody's like, oh, we're okay. Whatever happens, we're okay. So I think how you show up for things is very important. Thank you.
Mm. Really nice point. This is also why with our team, we started this non-for-profit called Conscious Collective, where we're planning more retreats and events. And one of the principles that I really is important to me in this is that we always give more than we ask. Like even just like what we're charging for retreats, or it's like much below market price, fair market price, quote unquote. Like, but the goal is that people feel like I got so much more than I gave, and then that kind of natural reciprocation is just like built in. It's another like it's just built into the model, and people feel it and see it, and I'm hoping that those of you that came to the retreat this weekend like felt that. When you look at what you got from the retreat versus what the exchange was. Um, yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Hi, Krishna.
Hi, Krishna, Katie.
Um, yeah, what comes to my mind is my table here is full of presents, like full, and and I didn't expect any of them. And I came home and was showing my husband all this stuff, and I was like, I got all these presents, and somehow every scarf is a different color, and um, and it was so like sweet and unexpected, and it really, like you're saying, like the value was so great, like what we put in monetarily really came back. um so I really appreciate that you make such an effort to make it attainable and like practical for a lot of people who to be able to afford to come. And it was just it was very touching, like at different moments, like here's another little present, and someone must have decorated this beautiful little box, and it's a mystery what's inside. And so that was really fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, and like um with thinking about like my new job with the memory care seniors, you know we plan like every hour or half hour these blocks of activities. And in all reality, like they don't know what time it is. They don't have the capacity anymore to know, like, it's 5 o'clock, I have to sit down for dinner. So you're kind of like, sometimes meandering the halls with, it takes a while to like get people to the location we need them to be to eat or whatever. And um that's like, I guess my point is like, the goal presented by the managers is like, keep on schedule, da da da, no overtime. But in all reality, you have to be flexible, because the main part is the relationship building with the
Mm-hmm.
person who needs the care. And if you're like showing that you're like annoyed, or it's stressful that I'm going to be like 2 minutes overtime because they can't understand it's time to sit down at the dinner table, like then you're missing the whole point, because it's not the activity, it's like the relationship and them getting time to engage and feel worthy, of like time and the you know and fun and interaction and conversation. And they are, they say so are. And then also part of it is like, I'm gonna have to start planning, like, like my new manager's like, share your ideas, and we want to like change up the calendar a little. And that adds a little bit of pressure. So thank goodness I have like artist friends, and some ideas to try something a little different, or bring someone in that's never been to engage with them. And but like, it's nice to hear this conversation, because it makes me realize like there's less pressure, and it's just true that like those ideas aren't my ideas anyway. Like they are Krishna's mercy providing me meeting that artist in the past. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just it takes some pressure off when we like um really start to know and believe and live from that place of like this isn't coming from me anyway. Like I hope to like facilitate Krishna's mercy through, and help others with like that kind of without thinking like these are my ideas, so I should get an A+ on my annual you did a good job review. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Hi, Paul.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's all just the more that you give, the more that your heart is full. And we want to create a community around those principles, so that it's like it takes care of itself. It nourishes itself. If we all lived in those communities, if we all had work environments like that, like just how uplifting that would be. And the reality is we can have communities like that. We can have work environments like that. Really, it starts with just one person, just one person. We could all here today change our communities, the cultures that we live in, the work environments. It's possible. What do you think, Aaron? Aaron brought Mama Ann to the retreat this weekend, and whoa, what a gift Mama Ann is.
She sure is. No, I just think yeah, Katie, when you just said like I deserve that A+, I was like, yes, like I have thought that so many times. And Radha, when you're just sharing about how you used to take things like really personally, that's definitely something I still struggle with. I think I'm a lot better than where I used to be. But yeah, it's like one-to-one input of like effort to my worth. But I think something that's so hard is, this balancing act that you're talking about basically is like the more effort I put into something, it's like the more you have to release control. And like that's just such a juxtaposition of like, but I've put all of this time and energy and effort. So I find that really particularly difficult. I think it's helpful to practice in like those small and little ways. But when you talk about like the big things in life that you're just like, but I want this so much and I'm going to do everything to align myself towards that goal. And then to ultimately step back and be like, but it's okay, I'm not in control. It's so challenging. But I was also thinking about like, I love what Kalachanji you shared about empowering leadership. Um, and I know you don't want to talk about you, Radha, but
Please
it's
don't.
so nice. It's such a helpful example because when you let so many people in to help you coordinate something, it gets so much more complicated. You get so many other people's, expectations and everything that they bring into it. But you're just like, like, come on in, like, join the party, join the fun. Like, how many different facilitators did we have? And it was so beautiful and amazing, whether it was exactly what we had planned or thought it was going to be or not. But I was just thinking, like, that almost has to come with a higher level of non-attachment because it gets so complicated and you get so many more humans and we're all flawed and we all bring all of ourselves to everything that we do. And, it's like, it's not surprising that you don't see more of that you see more powerful and like just that powered side of leadership that's really top down and really unapologetic and really like say as I, do as I say, um, versus like this really organic, empowering leadership because it is messy, like, and things are going to change. And yeah, just being able to like let go of those expectations is definitely a practice.
Mm. Yeah, well, thanks for pointing that out, Erin, because there was a time not very long ago that I think you remember probably that I had a really hard time doing that, like of letting people in just because I was afraid of the conflict. I was like I was very careful because I was afraid of the conflict. Do you remember that, Erin? You know, okay, there was yeah. I'm sure Vedasar remembers it because he pushed me pretty hard. He pushed me pretty hard because he's all about empowerment and I saw that in him and I loved that. But a part of me was so scared because you do. Then you're managing all these extras. But the beautiful thing is, just like you said, you're actually not managing anybody's expectations. You're doing your best, and then you're letting Krishna and them figure it out. And it was like magic. Like I really felt I didn't manage anybody's expectations on this retreat, and or facilitators, or and then everybody jumps in, does their part. That really was faith affirming for me because I would have never bought into that leadership model if it wasn't for spiritual life. Yeah. Thank you. Poppy.
Hare Krishna. It's so funny. You said Poppy and the sun just came on my face. It was like I'm on spotlight. So here I am, shiny from New York. Oh gosh, where do I start? Rather, I'm gonna pick on you again. Sorry about that. But the
Grace, come on.
whole leadership, like I feel like me being me, I struggle with authority, especially when it's not, what they're preaching and what their mission statement, and they're not walking it and living it and leading by example. And you walk into talk. It's not like you give us you give a talk and it's just it comes from your heart. And us being a participant, well, me, I see that you are walking on your daily, day to day, minute by minute, every life, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, and that is special, and that's a leadership. Um, I'm trying to quote His Holiness Radhanath Swami. I'm not going to quote it. I'm just going to summarize it. But he said something around being a leadership is nurturing potential within other people. And my personal experience with you and Anuradha has been, I'm like, what do I have to offer? I have nothing to offer. I'll just show up, eat prasadam and maybe dance a little and call it a retreat. But you and Anuradha were like left and right, like, okay, wow, this is such a gift. And I'm like, wait, are you talking about me or some other girl? And for me, that was uplifting. Like the one, let me know when I'm blabbering a lot and you have to, somebody else has to go. But for the first time in the retreat, was it Thursday? No, the end of Thursday. I think Saturday or Friday. During Mangala, a Prabhu comes. Do you want to sing Narsimha there? Narsimha Arti. And of course, me being Poppy, I'm like, yeah, I signed up for something without knowing how, when, how it will happen. And then I was telling Radha, I need a backup. I'm nervous. I have never done this. I know the lyrics. And Radha holds my hand and says, Poppy, I'm your backup. Let's go. You got this. Leave everything. And yeah, so you do that, Radha. You do that, and this whole nonprofit, the whole mission statement, you hold safe space. Sometimes I feel like I'm too much for myself, and you hold, and the group, it just holds for all parts of me and how everybody comes. Yeah, and I don't know. I think I see myself in positive life through how you guys see me. And that's such a gift and blessing for me. Yeah, thank you.
We grow together, we rise together. And we could do so much more together than any of us could do by ourselves. Yeah. Thank you, Poppy. And you rocked it when you sang at the morning program. Totally rocked it. It's beautiful to witness.
My mom, I was iffy about taking her. I'm like, you're not gonna. It's gonna be everything's gonna be in English. This is that. She's like, well, they're gonna do Hare Krishna, right? I know Hare Krishna. Mom,
I know Hare Krishna.
and she just was in tears of the experience and the love, and everybody just gave in. Like she was like crying like a baby on the plane, and my heart just melted that she had such a good time, and all of you guys showered her with like love. Um, thank you.
I love that for your mom, and I love that your mom doesn't really speak English, but experience that love. I mean, that's amazing. Your mom's a vessel of love, though, so it's a very sweet soul. Shraddhanjali.
Well, I just want to say Poppy's mom, Erin's too, but Poppy's mom is the sweetest thing. I mean, the sweetest. Oh, I loved her. I wanted to take her home with me.
Same.
But I just wanted to say too, yes, that it's the encouragement, of others, and I've that trying to do that even at work. I used to put a lot of effort in, and I kept thinking of that Gita verse. Don't be worried about the result. Don't even concern yourself with the result. Just do your best and let it unfold. And if you can really try that, just experience that a few times, it'll really grow. I That was the whole retreat, was you were encouraging us, and the result just happened beautifully. And everyone was encouraging each other. I saw it all the time. Someone would speak in the retreat, like, and then we'd move on, but then another woman would go next to that other woman and just hug her. It was like it it was so beautiful, and it was the Gita in action. It was the Gita in action. I was this is the whole podcast is about this, but I really observed that. And then our next verse in the Gita, it's open on my lap, but I keep thinking, this is this is how we should this is how we should behave whenever our ego starts to get crazy. And if you let me, I'll just read the English. I know we can't do it
Please.
today. We
Please.
can do it tomorrow, but next time. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. And in the midst of all of this is that, we can get bewildered, we can get astonished, even at good things, but in the end, we bow our head and pray. And that's where all the power comes from.
Yes. It's like plugging straight into source.
Yeah.
Humility is like what the prongs are made of.
Yeah.
Plug right in.
Yeah.
And then it just flows. Yeah.
And that was that verse that was going to be like for today, which totally, for me at least, wrapped up the whole discussion. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And so that's where we'll go. That's where we'll go Thursday when we meet together. That's where we're sorry we didn't really get into the Gita. I was just kind of like missing you guys and wanting to do a post retreat Sangha. But we'll get into it Thursday, I promise. We've only done this one other time, not done Gitas. So we'll get right back into it. Do we have any final shares before we close for the day? Jennifer, Jewel, we didn't hear from you, or Meg.
No, I'm just so happy to see everybody and to close out. And I love everyone. Thank you for this. Yeah, I just love everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you all. And I'll see you Thursday.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Let's do this together.
Krishna.
Let's be this agents of changes for our community and build a community together that imbibes these principles and successfully. Let's do it.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, everyone.
Hare
Much
Krishna.
love. Much love.
Hari Hari.